All right, and we're back with part two of the three-part series, how to rewire your brain and become a limitless being, how to get out of your own way and do what you truly want to do in life. If you haven't watched part one, leave this video and go watch that first. In that one, we talked about becoming aware of everything that is holding us back, all of our negative or limiting programming, what reality is, how our mind works, neuroplasticity. I'm going to link that one here, so check that out if you haven't seen that. Now, this is section two, what I call the blank slate. Now that we have become aware of what is holding us back, we have to kind of wipe our mind clean. If we're talking about it in computer terms, we have to do a hard reboot on our system, wipe the hard drive clean, right? This is really disassociating from those limiting programs that we're running on, breaking our identity away from what it has been built up to be. This is where we cut through layers of hardwired negative beliefs. This is really where we learn how to control our mind. So, when we were born, our mind was this blank slate. We were highly receptive to influences around us. Everything we experienced became a part of our identity. It became part of the subconscious programs that we were running on, and we picked up a lot of shit. So what we need to do is we need to reconnect with that childlike state. We need to find our inner child. And this might be a challenge. We live in a world of constant overstimulation, information overload, constant BS being thrown at us. But this process is it's going to make you a lot calmer. It's going to make you a lot more relaxed. It's going to teach you how to control your emotions. And really what we're doing here is we're not learning in this process. We are unlearning everything that we think we know. Because in reality, we don't know shit. We really don't know anything. We got to really unlearn everything that we've been telling ourselves at a subconscious level that is holding us back. We're going to really be removing ourselves from the noise of society right now, but then we're going to eventually re enter. We're going to know ourselves better. We're going to be more clear headed. We're going to get rid of that clouded mind that comes with overstimulation, that comes with confusion of not knowing what our purpose is, knowing what we really want to do. And we're going to be able to listen to the more deeper parts of ourselves, our intuition, our soul, and that's going to help us show up a lot differently. So, first, let's talk about memory. Really, memory is our built up identity of the past that affects the perception of how we see literally everything today in the present. Memory is very important. I'm not saying we got to get rid of it altogether. It is also important to recall past memories, childhood memories. They could give us a clue as to what our purpose is. We can go back and connect the dots to observe the clues that the universe has been giving us in terms of what we should be doing in life. But really, our memory is keeping us stuck. It's keeping us in what we know, in what we're familiar with. Every time we look at something, we're not seeing it for what it really is. If you look at a tree, you're not seeing the tree for what it truly is, but what you believe it is based on past experiences you have of trees. Every time we see something, our brain is drawing on tons of past associations to make sense of what we're seeing. It is cross referencing tons of stored data to make sense of it. So basically, we're subconsciously judging the present based on the past, what we've known from the past. And you can see how this can create a mental box or a mental prison for yourself. How are you going to learn anything new, be open to learning anything new, to really evolving and breaking your limitations if you're stuck in the past? And this is why we become a victim of our conditioning, how we've been conditioned throughout our lives. So, in a sense, we're only experiencing a small snippet of reality. No two people see the world exactly the same because we're all looking at it from the lens. Memory is the lens that colors our reality. To really get out of our own way and create a limitless mind, we have to kind of wipe our memory clean. We have to release the old, release what's keeping us stuck before installing the new, which will be what part three is. And so the main process that we will use to create the blank slate is meditation. I love this quote. John J. Falone from the Genius Frequency, super powerful book. He said, meditation is providing the clear sky by which to navigate, providing a clear head for us to really operate in the world how we want to operate instead of being caught up in the inner war, which I talked about in part one. Meditation is a practice of self liberation, really freeing ourselves from suffering. Through meditation, we gain mastery over our lives, we gain mastery over ourselves, our own mind. In meditation, we're decreasing the activity of the conscious mind so that the subconscious becomes louder. We become more aware of what's going on down there under the hood, but we're not really looking to force pure thoughtlessness, to force no thinking, like you might have heard before. We're really looking to achieve a state where the channels of our mind are clear and undistorted, like a state of pure relaxation. When our mind is polluted and fragmented, it is impossible to be guided by the heart and intuition to really take advantage of our internal compass. That will give us all the answers if we just listen to it and follow it. I feel like our focus and our attention is being hijacked today. Constant distractions from the outside world are preventing us from really going deep into our internal world. And again, our internal world creates the external world. So, looking at the chart with different brainwave states, most of us spend our lives in beta. It's not the highest, which is gamma, which is basically like ecstasy. When we are stressed, when we are anxious, we are in the beta state. And so, if our brain is always turbulent like that, any intentions that we set, any goals that we set, we're just going to get distracted. Most of our brains are so chaotic that we can't hear our inner voice. And so meditating allows us to relax our mind and we start to enter deeper brainwave states where the activity slows down, so we enter alpha. And when we're sleeping, we enter the theta and the delta states. The way you actually reach gamma state, very high transcendent states of mind, is through those lower states, through being present, being relaxed, and really experiencing life at its fullest. Goal of meditation is to be able to instantly get ourselves out of that beta high stress state and into a relaxed state. And the way we control our focus, our attention, control our inner world is first through the breath, something that we have control over. We're focusing on the breath instead of everything going on in the outside world, and it brings our attention automatically to the present. Like we talked about in the last section, when we are fearful, when we are filled with anxiety, we stop breathing, our muscles tense up, and so we consciously have to slow our breathing down. And I love box breathing for this. So the green graphic there. Super simple. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and then hold it again. As your lung capacity improves, you can increase the amount that you're holding and breathing for. You do this for even 5 minutes, your brain activity is going to start to change. And you are always breathing, so no matter what environment you're in, you can always just return your focus to the breath. There is no perfect way to meditate, so just experiment and see what works for you. But we're going to get into how at least I meditate. So I sit down again. At first, you're probably not going to be able to sit in silence for more than 5 minutes without going crazy. So you're going to want to be in a peaceful environment. But I've been meditating for so long that I can be in the most chaotic environment and I can create a state of relaxation within myself, a mini meditation anywhere I'm at. So first, you're going to do some breath work, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, focusing on the breath. And the big one for me is I am consciously relaxing every muscle in my body, which counteracts the stress response. And then I'm just simply sitting there and I'm observing what's going on in my head. I'm just being observant, noticing when my mind strays, and I just return my focus back to my breath. I'm not giving any energy to those thoughts. I'm not trying to push them away. I'm just shifting my focus. And so with time, we're separating from our mental chatter. We're going to talk about in the next couple slides how our thoughts aren't really us, but we identify with our thoughts. Our true state, our most limitless state, most authentic state is when we are fully present. We're not ruminating about the future, worrying about the future, or stuck in the past. And as I loosen up, as I become more relaxed, I like to visualize my energy expanding. And I really enter a state of feeling limitless, like anything is possible. Like suffering doesn't exist. I dictate whether suffering exists or not. And so, with consistent meditation practice, I'm saying it doesn't have to be more than 15 minutes a day. The more you do it, the more you're going to be comfortable with sitting in silence. Your brain activity is going to decrease. And like in the graphic down in the bottom corner, you're consumed with a problem, obsessing over the problem, stressing over it, and then you take control of your focus and you become present. You focus on what's going on around you, the lights, the sounds, your breath, while realizing that you stressing over the problem isn't going to solve it. That problem will work itself out only if you surrender to it and just let it work itself out. I love the mindful versus mindful graphic. So our body is here, right? But usually our mind is not here. It's somewhere else. And that is the power of our mind. Our mind can essentially time travel. It can go to any location that exists really in the universe. And we're living out the future. We're playing out the future and really living it many times before it actually happens. And our body is responding to it like it's real over and over again. We're visualizing something going wrong in the future instead of just really being in the present, like noticing the trees, noticing the sun, noticing the natural beauty around us, but our body is there, but our mind isn't. Really, what we're looking to do is create an eternal flow state. You were never worried about the future. If you were never wishing that the clock would go faster, time would actually speed up. And we've all felt this before. When we're engaged in a task and we're really into it, time doesn't exist. This is where we tap into truly unlimited energy. If we are fully in the flow state, it is impossible to be depressed or anxious. That is the truth. But we can create the flow state anytime. Therefore, free us from our suffering anytime. The power of the present moment. The issue is that we identify with every single thought that we have as true. When we are meditating, we are decreasing our attachment to thought. We are just watching our thoughts really from a third person perspective. We're just observing what's going on in there without judging it, without being attached to it. Instead of feeding into our disempowering thoughts and emotions, we're really like ascending them. This is ascension. And we stop identifying with our self created limitations. So let's say you feel an anxiety come up, you will notice that there are two separate parts of you, okay? The first part is the part of our psyche that is victimized and controlled by fear. And the second part is the observer part. That part is not in fear, it's just witnessing it. The real us is our soul. Our soul is just existing, just being. When we're just existing and we're just being, we're not trying to force anything, we're not caught in the past or the future. That's the real us. Thoughts are just thoughts. We're not our thoughts, and we're not our mind. That might take a little bit of time to really sink in, but once it does, you are going to free yourself. Thoughts only become true when we choose to identify with them, but right now we are subconsciously identifying with every single thought that we have, and we have no control over ourselves. In reality, we can choose not to identify with our thoughts. Like we talked about in part one, anxiety, fear is really just our mind trying to keep us safe. We can notice what's going on, we can accept it, we can remember why it's happening, but the key is to not judge the limiting thought. This is how we begin to break those associations and really start to rewire ourselves. Once we control our thoughts and start thinking empowering thoughts, and remember that we really ultimately choose what to believe, then we can install new programs and become anything that we want. And that's what we're going to talk about in part three. The brain is a tool for us to use, just like our arms and our legs, no different. Instead of getting all entangled in our thoughts, like we love to go down rabbit holes of thought loops, break free from that, disentangle ourselves from our thoughts, and observe them from a higher vantage point. From there, we gain the capacity to transform our thoughts and really control them. I love the quote by Viktor Frankl. He said that between stimulus and response, there is a space. And that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Most of us think we're making sovereign decisions. Most of us think we're really steering the ship of our life in the direction that we want, but we're not. So, basic example, but let's say you're driving home and you go by Taco Bell and you get flooded with cravings for fast food. That situation is the stimulus. It's what happened in physical reality that created an emotional reaction, a craving for shit food. So most of us feel the impulse and we are just a victim to it. We go, get the fast food, and then we probably feel guilty afterwards because we know we shouldn't be eating it. But if we just chill for a second, we don't act on the impulse. We can gather ourselves and delay action towards those cravings. In this moment, we can remember that we are not our thoughts or our emotions, but again, we are the observer of them. Looking at everything from a bird's eye view, we can choose how to think, and we can choose the action that we really want to take in the end. We have the freedom to choose how we respond to the stimulus instead of just making an automatic reaction to it. We can make new decisions instead of falling back into old patterns. And most cravings will subside. This is from experience. Most cravings will subside if we just break the cycle of instantly indulging in them. And so then we can start to mold reality how we choose. So notice what's going on, interrupt the pattern, observe the decision that you would usually make, eating the junk food, falling for the impulse, and consciously shift into a new decision. It might be uncomfortable at first, but this is how we break out of our comfort zone and break the cycle of recreating the past and really create a new future. So for anxiety, notice it and accept it as a natural emotion. Don't push it down. If you're scared, if your friends are going cliff jumping, but your fear is holding you back, just observe the fear and then consciously choose to act despite the fear. Keep your focus in the present moment and just do it. For anger, instead of getting pissed off at someone in traffic, just observe what's going on, notice the anger, accept it, collect yourself, and remember that people are only projecting onto you what they feel inside, and then be the bigger person. Act out of your higher self instead of your ego self. If we continue to choose our response in emotional situations, that's when we start to master ourselves. So it's time to stop letting our negative thoughts consume us and dictate how we show up in the world, what actions we take. As we continue to realize that we are really the consciousness above our thoughts, we will stop identifying with them. This is how you break the habit of negative thinking, and this might seem counterintuitive. Don't get me wrong, I do still experience negative thoughts. But again, I control my response to them instead of automatically reacting to them and then really fueling the negativity even more. We can't think our way out of negative thoughts, we can't push them down and just expect them to go away. We can't even force positive thinking or affirmations or avoiding our problems and pretending that everything is okay, life is good. It's only going to strengthen the negativity. What we really have to do is neutralize our negative thoughts, take the energy, the power away from them. Remember that none of our thoughts are inherently true. We decide what is true. So when that negative or limiting thought arises, just don't judge it as good or bad. Don't slap a label on it as right or wrong, as positive or negative. Simply just accept it, observe the reason why it was triggered within you, and control your response to the negative thought. Return to your true self, return to the full present, slow your breathing down, relax your body, enter the meditative state, and you are free from limitation. Meditation really neutralizes and balances our energy. So, I'm gonna give you a quick meditation exercise. It's called the Born Again meditation. This is gonna really make you feel limitless. So, first, enter the meditative state, and then I want you to imagine what it would feel like if you were born into the world this instant, right now, in your current body. Fresh copy of you right now. None of what you experienced in the past exists. You're not tied to anything in the future, so the possibilities are endless. Now just go deeply into this feeling of freedom. What the hell would you actually do in life? Do this consistently and you will break free from the past. Your actions will no longer be a recreation of the past and you will really start to think without limits. And so we talked about meditation, becoming the observer, stimulus and response. The last part of creating the blank slate is giving yourself a break from all kinds of information because every piece of information that you consume does affect your subconscious in some way. So we want to cut that flow off just for right now. I'm not demonizing social media. I'm not demonizing our phones. I'm not even demonizing substance use, honestly. Just for right now, while we're clearing things up, just take a break. We're going to stop scattering our focus. When you're scrolling through social media and you are reading different posts, you read one post, you essentially live it out and recreate it in your head. Your body responds to it like it's real. And then you slide to the next post, does the exact same thing. So imagine how much this is scattering up your brain. If you try to do anything new and your focus is hijacked, it's never going to happen. So delete the social media for a little bit, turn off the news. Maybe during this time, maybe don't even read books. Give your brain a break. At least don't consume any information 30 minutes after waking and 30 minutes before bed. When we wake up, we're coming out of those deep, slow brainwave states like theta and delta. And so our subconscious is very, very impressionable. That's why they say when you wake up and you get clear on your intentions, visualize your intentions, you're going to go throughout your day making decisions that align with those intentions because it's seeped into your subconscious. Instead, just meditate, just practice being present, practice sitting in silence. If you're in social gatherings, turn the phone off, put it in airplane mode, be fully present. We don't need to know everything going on in the news. We don't need to know what's going on in the world. We need to be aware of what is going on inside of us, what's occurring within us. Shoot, even music. I don't even listen to music that much anymore. But those lyrics, depends on what you're listening to, those lyrics can impact you subconsciously. You're listening to stuff about killing, doing drugs, drinking beer. That is having an impact on your identity, and we want to free our identity. So just be conscious of that. You may want to go through a period of just removing yourself from society and just not being around people, just being with yourself. Totally cool. And finally, during this time, and I'm not saying give them up completely, but take a break from drinking, take a break from weed, take a break from any other substance. Caffeine, I'll say, not a big deal, but maybe take a few days off of caffeine. Give your brain a break from overstimulation. When you're abstaining from all that, you're going to just get rid of brain fog. You're going to balance your hormones, you're going to reset your dopamine system, and your brain, when you're off of these substances, is going to be a lot more neuroplastic. It's going to be able to be molded a lot more easily. You're going to be able to break old connections and form new connections a lot easier, even if you're older. And just know that what you're doing right now is you're cutting old habits. You're removing yourself from negative cycles. And so this is the habit loop. Something triggers a thought or emotion to do a habit. That habit has become a routine, so we automatically do it without thinking because we're expecting some reward from the habit. And so while you're essentially fasting from being bombarded with information, fasting from old disempowering habits, just be patient with yourself. Forgive yourself when you screw up. You probably will screw up. This is a process that takes time. This is the breaking of old synaptic connections. Or we're going to stop acting like a rat, in the wheel, just constantly chasing the cheese, but not really getting the cheese. At one point, I found myself, I would wake up, I would be so motivated to change and be a better person, but then I would find myself reverting back to old habits by the end of the night and just caught in this cycle, right? You are breaking years of habits, years of behavior that has been hardwired into you. But when the trigger happens to keep repeating the old habit, instead of falling into it, again, give it a sec and really control how you respond to it. Pull yourself out of the routine. Choose to do something new. And honestly, throughout the day, choosing to do something new, even driving a new route, going to a new restaurant, or just going out there and exploring, this will help to shake you out of the familiar and wake you up and introduce your mind to new possibilities. Just know that you will be tested when you do this. Life will test you, the universe will test you to see if you are strong enough to see how bad you really want to change. During this time, if you are cutting addictions, if you are cutting anything that siphons your energy, leeches your energy, it takes time to unwind those old patterns. If you relapse, just feel the pain. Feel the pain of relapse. We're rewiring the pleasure and pain receptors in your brain. You're going to stop getting pleasure from the old habit, from the addiction, and you're going to start to associate that with pain. Over time, you're just going to go away from it. And if you associate pleasure towards working towards your goals, improving yourself, indulging in that addiction will feel so painful that you won't want to do it. And so that is part two. I know there was a lot there, but that was part two, the blank slate. Part three is going to be where we've created a calm, a sound mind, an unfragmented mind, and we're going to install new programs, new beliefs, and create an entirely new identity. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this helped. Peace.